Most people think they have a goals problem, but they don't. I believe most people have a standards problem. Let me tell you what I mean by this. In most cases, at least I know for myself personally, you're not going to be rising to your dreams, but rather in almost everyday scenarios, you're going to be drowning in your default standard. Everybody wants to talk about what they want. That's the easy part. I did the same thing. I did the same thing on this channel a lot of times. I talked about what I wanted. I wanted to have rental properties, investment portfolios, subscribers, everything. It's easy to talk about what you want, but the hard truth that I had to swallow for myself is that you don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. You tend to get what your lowest standards are. So let's talk about a story from my life, actually. On this channel, when I was making content, I tended to set goals without raising my standards to the bar to match that goal. What this means is that I would set a goal to do a series to make $10,000 doing side hustles or in an investment portfolio if you've seen some of my other videos. But the habits that I had on a day-to-day basis did not rise up to these standards. I wasn't going out every day doing side hustles. I wasn't planning videos or recording videos or taking these little steps that needed to be taken in order for those goals to be reached. Now, be it through sheer willpower, I was able to accomplish some of those goals, but it wasn't sustainable because my lifestyle had not adapted. I was still succumbing to a lot of comfort habits rather than keep myself accountable in order to actually meet those goals. And with that, when we tend to describe our goals as dreams, that in itself doesn't necessarily have to be true. Once you set a goal as a dream, you are mentally taking into your head the fact that it is probably not going to happen. It is a dream that if by some miracle it happens to come true, then you will be happy. But I was actually on social media today and I saw one of those little clips of a person doing a domino exercise and then the effort multiplies into a big domino, and all of a sudden the big one the size of a full-size door falls. And what I realized from this is that time multiplies all of your efforts. It doesn't take a lot, but it does take a little bit consistently in order to get started. In all those times where I felt like I was serious towards my goal, but I wasn't taking the time in order to actually realize those with my daily habits, with my daily tolerations that I had for myself, I wasn't necessarily making any progress whatsoever. Saying things like, I want to be great, I want to be successful, I want to make a lot of money, is just as effective as saying something like, I want to win the lottery, I want to be the president, but you have no real intention, no real plan of actually going out and capturing that vision. That's part of the reason why I wanted to switch my content on here on this channel, because as my life went on, I started to realize that I didn't want my full life, my full brand, my full image to just be around personal finance. Now, albeit that was a big part of my life, especially when I was 18 going up to about 22 or 23, because I didn't grow up with any money. I didn't know how to invest in the stock market. I didn't know how to start a Roth IRA or even get into real estate. But now that I have a little bit more experience, I realized that it never can be all about the money, because the money is a byproduct of the passion. The money is a byproduct of whatever effort you choose to produce, and hopefully if you craft yourself to be good enough, then you will be monetarily rewarded for that effort. And then once I came to the realization that money was not the end all be all, that's when I took a long look at this channel. I was like, wow, I really only talk about investments. Now, it's important to niche down, don't get me wrong, it's important to do things like that, but I didn't want my life to be stuck in that studio that I had back at home with the foam panels on the wall and not being able to talk about anything else. But going back into the point of this video, your life is going to be built at the level of your lowest standard. Now, what does this mean? So first and foremost, let's define lowest standard clearly here. Some real life examples in the fitness area may be always skipping leg day or always going half effort on leg day. In finance, your lowest standard could be you just feel like you don't budget well, so you don't keep a monthly budget. Or in content creation, as I am in this field now, this could be only making videos when you feel like it, not necessarily having a plan or a schedule or even a structure that you can build from that is scalable, but only doing it at the whim of motivation. But even though these may be your lowest standards, your minimum standards, what happens more often than not is that these lowest minimum standards end up setting the bar for what your default action is. So instead of this actually being the thing that you only do occasionally, it turns into the things that you do all the time, that you do every day. And if you do anything above and beyond that, you decide yourself to be an exceptional person. And if you begin to realize that it's not these big moves that define you when you have a good day, it's going to be the weak moves that you let slide, the ones that you continue to repeat over and over, your lowest standards that will define you even though you want those great days too. So how do you get out of this? If I'm talking to myself here, you need to realize that what you allow will continue. What you allow to happen once in a while will continue to happen. What you allow to happen every day will continue to happen every day. So as I do a personal audit of myself, I want you to do a personal reflection exercise of yourself as well. What do you allow yourself to do when you think no one is watching? Do you take days off? Do you take weeks off? Do you have some destructive habits habit that you know you should quit, whether that be smoking, drinking, whatever that may be. What do you allow yourself to do out of comfort that you know is going to be destructive towards your long-term plans? And then once you answer that question, you then have to go back and answer, where are the places that you are inconsistent when life gets a little bit inconvenient? I know for a fact, for me, that's here on this YouTube channel with uploading videos. Whenever my work gets a little bit busy or whenever I'm dragged in another direction, I tended to blow off uploading videos for some reason or another. And as I said earlier in this video, that was all because I didn't have a structure in place. I didn't have a plan in place to keep me on track when something didn't go my way throughout the day. And a lot of these small comfort habits can be broadly just called out as things like entitlement, procrastination, and just to be honest, flat out laziness. And while a lot of us may have ambitious goals, if ambitious goals are paired with lazy execution, then there will be no meaningful byproduct from that work whatsoever. So how do you go about raising that standard? Well, first it's going to be easy. Do that self-reflection exercise and identify what your weak floor is. But don't try to overhaul your whole life all at once, and you're going to have too much to do too often. So what I was saying, what I did is that pick one area of your life where you know that your standard is trash, where you know that you're not living up to potential that you could potentially be living up to. As I said, for me in this channel, it's going to be uploading consistent YouTube videos, but for you in your life, that may mean something completely different. And after you identify this weak floor, set yourself up a non-negotiable. Define what your new baseline for this habit is. If I'm looking beyond this YouTube channel, it is going to be reading my Bible every single day. That is a non-negotiable in my life. Well, I don't care where I am in the world, how busy I am, I am going to set aside 15 to 20 minutes every single day to read my Bible. I told myself I was going to read the entire Bible in 1 year, and it's been 2 years since I told myself that. Ultimately, it's not just about myself, because I am trying to be a person who is going to lead people into discovering what truth the Bible has to offer. It's not just about me anymore. It's about what I can do for others and what sort of impact I can provide to others. And in order to do that effectively, I must first need to have the knowledge to back up the things that I'm saying and the things that I am broadcasting here on this channel. And after you set this non-negotiable, you want to reinforce it daily. Repeat it every single day until it becomes second nature, till it becomes a part of your identity, indistinguishable from anything else. People will begin to know you. Instead of you having to put up an effort to do a certain habit, you would then do a habit because that's the type of person you are and that's the thing that you do. Another example is that I'm going to upload videos every single week. I just want that to be the type of person that I am, and whether a person watches me once a month, every day, or once a week, they'll know that every time they click on my channel, they will begin to expect some piece of new content that should be impactful, inspirational, depending on the kind of content I'm making at the time. And ultimately what this boils down to is that your standards are not something that you hope to do, but rather it's something that you refuse not to do. You refuse not to take a day off. You refuse not to let yourself fall into the habit of doom scrolling or wasting days at a time on something that's not important. Raise your standards and you'll raise the quality of your life. And what happens when you do this is that there begins to be a ripple effect. Your confidence starts to go up, your doubt shrinks, and then the execution of your plan that you have for your life suddenly begins to improve dramatically. It doesn't happen all at once, but your efforts slowly compound over time. They slowly build over time. So as we wrap this video up, I want you to pick one area of your life right now and raise the standard. Don't just click off this video feeling inspired or feeling motivated. Pick one area right now and raise that standard. Write it down and live it out. Do it for 1 day, 7 days, 30 days. Live it. So if you found any value in this video, please consider subscribing. And if you want a better life, start with a better floor.